Hey everybody, this is my friend Ralphena, and I told you that she had an injured foot. She's been in rehab. She's kind of at a rehab hospital. So I was coming up here to visit her, and I brought her some food. Tell them how good the food was.
Food was fantastic. Frank is the bomb cook. It was wonderful.
So anyways, I just wanted to introduce you to Miss Ralphena. I'm going to give her the phone, and she's going to minister to you for a little while because, well, she's awesome, and I just love the way she ministers. So she's going to talk to you for a little while. Here she is. This is Miss Ralphena, y'all.
Well, hi. I'm Ralphena Dotson, and I am just the most blessed person in the whole world. Those of you who don't know me know that I am the lady that has, for the last 18 years, been the visionary for the Great Shout. We do it every year, New Year's Eve around the world. So join us this year, wherever you are. Instead of saying Happy New Year, say Jesus is the Lord. And you'll be in agreement with people from every time zone all around the world. I'm grateful to Frank for his friendship because it gives me an opportunity to talk about the things of God to somebody who understands how I feel and what God is telling me and what God is telling him. We work together in prayer and we stand in agreement one with another. And I just have seen his kindness to us in ways that I can't even describe. I want to encourage you. I want to tell you something. Some of the things that you're experiencing and some of the ways you've been wounded or disappointed or made to feel rejected or unworthy, some of the mistakes you've made and some of the guilt and shames you carry, every one of them is a plan of the enemy, so that you don't know who you are to God and that you don't have the confidence to go to God and say, look, Lord, I need help. I can't do it no more by myself. I've made all these mistakes. I need you to take charge. I need you to take the steering wheel. I need you to take the rudder. I need you to come to my aid. And he'll do that for you. All these years, I guess it's taken me a long time to figure out some things. But I realize that this time in our lives, the things that we're dealing with are things that are really sent to separate us from God. One of the things I notice is that the thinking of my grandchildren and my thinking about the most basic things is different. Well, because they have been impressed and seduced by the thinking of our society and our time now. So make a decision that you will be willing to do things God's way and let him have your life, because right now, the more people that know God and the more people that trust him, God will have those people, you, to touch people's lives. They're people that have no hope, have no help, have no place to go. And just a word from you, just a kind thought that you could give, just a willing hand, a touch, a hug. Some people are wounded. When I go places to preach, I have the people stand up and go and greet each other. And I remind them of the fact that there are people in this room right now, in rooms of hundreds of people. They all look fine. They're dressed up. They look great. Everything looks like it's going good for them. But I say, do you know there are people in here right now who have had nobody's touch in the last week? Nobody's been there for them. Nobody's talked to them except the people they have to speak to at work or at home. So here we are, the people of God. So let us come into agreement together and become the helper one of another. The knowledge you have. The first thing I want to remind you is that you are a spirit being. Do you understand that? That's something I didn't know. My mother died when I was a kid in Chicago, and the day I buried her, I was 16, and I got home that night, and the temperature fell below zero, and I slept for a few minutes and woke up and realized that I didn't put my mother in a coat. I didn't put her in a coat. She didn't have a coat. And I thought, oh my God, my mom was out there in that cold cemetery ground with no coat. And I beat myself up for years and years and years because I felt so unworthy and I felt so guilty. I was so ashamed that I didn't think of how I could make it comfortable for her. I realized that I had left her in the ground in a casket and the cold air was freezing her. That's what I felt like. And I went through that ignorance for 8 years. 8 whole years I did not know any better. 8 whole years I felt guilty. 8 whole years I cried and lamented over the condition that I left my mother in. And then I heard somebody say, you are a spirit. You live in a body. You have a soul. I thought, what? You are a spirit. The man said it the second time, just like he heard me say what? He said it a second time. You are a spirit. You live in a body and you have a soul. I'm telling you, I can't describe how relieved I was, how grateful I was, how overwhelmed I was with the joy of knowing that I hadn't done an evil thing, an irresponsible thing, an ungrateful thing to my mother. I realized that the bones and the dress that was in that casket out there in the cemetery was not my mother. My mother was living in the spirit realm. And so basically what we try to do is tell people so you'll know the truth. You need to understand that you're going to live somewhere for eternity. You're going to live somewhere for the rest of eternity. And you can determine right now where that's going to be. Now, you can either be with God or you can be with the devil. Now, the devil loves that. Woo! He's so happy to have you. He's so glad you starting to look like him and you're not looking like God. He's so glad you listen to his voice and you won't listen to God. He is so glad that you do not believe that you're worthy and that he has told you the truth. Nobody loves you. Nobody's going to ever forgive you. You've gone too far. It's too late. Those are lies. Every one of those things is a lie. I know. I've been delivered and set free from all the guilt and all the mistakes I made. And we just prayed for a young man here at this rehab place, and he's 21 years old. He said, I ain't been to church in a long time. I don't know. But when we prayed for him and asked him, did he want Jesus? He said, yes. And we said, do you understand that tomorrow will only have one past today? You accepted Jesus in your heart today. Tomorrow will be the first day of your new life. And today, this day that he accepted Jesus, it will be the only day in his past. Here we are. We got to go forward. God's not mad. He's not upset. He's not overwhelmed. He's not discouraged. What he is he's waiting for us to get to a place where we really believe what he said is true. So if you can get the point that you're a spirit and that you live in the supernatural realm long before you came into the body of a baby. You know, I say people stood in the supernatural realm for the eons of time, waiting for their name to be called so they could come out of the supernatural and come across a portal into the natural realm and into the body of a baby by the Spirit. And here we are. We've all grown, and I'm probably older than most of you, but trust me, I was here from the very beginning. And the little baby you have in the next room and the little children that are around you, they're the same age. They just came later. And so you have to be conscious of the fact that they're spirit beings and they have a soul, and their soul is the thinking mechanisms, the things that go on between their ears to explain their lives and the things that happen to them and the way they feel. So it's up to you to try and make sure that they are confident in the things of God. Don't teach your children to do things that are going to cause them problems later. And don't let them see you do things that if they imitate you will cause them problems later. Set a standard and make it excellent in the place where your children are. And cause them to have an honor for themselves and an honor for you. And you'll see God move in your behalf like nothing you could ever imagine. I'm so grateful to Frank for the privilege of talking to you today. I just love you, and I'm grateful that God sees us and he is making a provision for us. This is a new day. It's a darker day than anything I've ever seen. But that darkness will cause the light in you to shine. So be encouraged. It's going to get better for you and for me. And because of us, we can make it better for others. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye.
Okay, y'all, so that was my friend Ralphina. I told you, I got it.
There